Hey everyone, welcome to Aussie Homeschool Adventures. My name's Jo. It's great to have you here. If you are a new subscriber, welcome to my channel. It's great to have you. We talk all things homeschool, motherhood, family, farm life here on my channel. It's great to have you. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. It's also good to see you. In today's video, I'll be sharing my thoughts and my final review of our Gather Round Homeschool curriculum that we tried last term, the Asia unit in particular. So I touched on this briefly in my mid-year homeschool review video, but some people asked for a more in-depth review. So that's what I'll be doing in this video today. We're talking exclusively about Gather Round, my thoughts, and how it went for us as a homeschooling family. So to begin with, really wanted to love it. I heard so many amazing things about how it had changed people's homeschooling, how it just worked. It was so good. It was so easy. It was lots of fun. It was fantastic. So maybe that was part of the reason why I had such high expectations and high hopes that it was going to be fantastic for us. So we downloaded it. I bought it. We downloaded and I printed off and ring bound because that was the easiest option, the cheapest for me. I ring bound my daughter's workbook. So this is my youngest daughter, her early elementary one. I just ring bound it and we've been working our way through this. We're not quite finished with it yet, but we've done enough that I feel confident in giving our thoughts on it. So yeah, we've just ring bound it and we've been working our way through it that way. So that works for there. I actually used my iPad as my teacher's guide. I found that was the easiest way, and I would screen share it onto our TV for the more like beautiful pictures and stuff. Because the artwork and the graphics in here, I have to admit, are really quite beautiful. You know, you get absolutely stunning images and artworks that are just amazing, and the book itself is very beautiful. And look, for what it is as a geography unit, and it might be the same for the science ones or the history ones, I guess. For what they are as a unit, I think they're a great unit study. So we've now been just using this for the last month or more as our geography unit. I'm not using the language arts components as much anymore. I'm not using any of the other sorts of sheets that go along with it. We're just purely using it as a geography unit. I found that it was just a bit too light. There wasn't enough scaffolding, wasn't enough meat in it for my kids and for my family as a language arts curriculum or anything like that. I know that you focus on geography with this for the 50 days and that's your primary focus, and you don't worry about history, you don't worry about science, you don't worry about the other things. You're just focusing in on geography. But I don't like that, and my kids aren't really enjoying that either. We didn't really enjoy that. Get bored, get over it. So we'd get a little bit bored and a little bit frustrated over that. So we ended up ditching it and going back to what we were using, which you can go and have a look in my video on my mid-school year review video. I'll leave a link here. Pop the little card up, whichever side it comes up on, and you can check out that video if you want to see more about what we changed and why. But for this, I found that okay, so we did the writing project. My younger daughter really enjoyed the brainstorming and was able to think of, this is actually my oldest daughter's book. So she really enjoyed being able to brainstorm and think of ideas for her story. She had characters, she had all those wonderful ideas. She was able to think up of a basic plot line, and she did some beautiful story maps. So I actually mixed and matched hers. We did a mix of the early elementary, which was the younger grade stuff, and then we did some of the upper elementary because she's grade 3, grade 4-ish. So it wasn't too bad as far as leveling goes. But then, you know, we did this little bit of scaffolding sort of stuff. She plotted and planned a little bit of a story out. And then it came to writing the story, and she flipped because there wasn't any more scaffolding than that. She'd done the planning, but then in how to actually write the story, there wasn't a lesson teaching or explaining that you know, not all stories start with once upon a time, and that you start with this sort of bit and then you have this bit next and that bit. It wasn't there, and this is early elementary, so this should be their first foray into writing stories. And I really felt like it was just missing that structure, that scaffolding for her. And then, you know, I'm going to just jump ahead to a page that we haven't used. I don't want to share too much of my daughter's work. So we're up to Iran. So this week, for example, while I'm reading, she's got to draw the flag by hand, which for some flags is quite fine. It's a few lines and the colours and it's really easy. But some of them are really detailed, and some of these shields and some of these other things are really quite tricky. So she struggled with that, and her perfectionism was just too much. And if you've got a child that likes things to be just right, it would be quite tricky. And then they're writing about what they've learned in the time that you're reading. So we're still using this page whenever I'm reading out loud to them, and they don't mind doing that bit of notebooking. And then the next page, we've got information about a part of the country. So we will read this and we will answer that there. But it's really simple. Like, they give the word bank, so she's just copying the words that are relevant to the activity up to here about erosion. So we'll do that activity, but that only takes a minute. Then there's a bit of diction or copy work, more or less, writing it out without looking at it, which isn't great for my kids. They freak out with that sort of work. Some people love it, some kids are great, and look, if you've done it since they were small and they're willing to do that, then great. Then we have a very basic activity on nouns and adjectives. The something cat, the something girl, the something bird, and then there's a word bank of words down here to fill in the blanks, which is too young for my daughter in grade 4, a good level for my daughter in grade 2 to 3, but that was the one lesson for language arts, and it takes less than 5 minutes, and that was all there was. We talked briefly about it, but then that's the one lesson in that month about it. I haven't seen it touched on again. Then there's a little bit here on Persian rugs and the trade, so we'd read that, and then there's a section there on writing it, so that's a little bit good. It's social studies, it's a little bit more writing there, and then we're on to the next country. So look, the lessons are really short, and that's not a bad thing, because we use master books and their lessons are short, but they're just that little bit longer, and I find that they have a little bit more meat in them, I guess, a little bit more depth. And maybe if I kept using this, I'd see the spiralizing going on and the topics and the lessons being covered again, but I haven't seen it in that month. I'm just seeing these things being shown once and then moved on from, and I don't know. It just worries me that there's not enough repetition so that they actually understand what these things are. So there's lots of pros to it. It really is a great curriculum to work on as a family. You can read it all out loud and together, and then each child can work on their notebook. And if you've got a really good independent researching child who will jump on the internet and will research and can write and understand stuff, then it might be perfect for you. My girls aren't big researchers. They aren't big writers. They enjoy hands-on, and they enjoy me teaching them and showing them rather than finding for themselves at this point. I'm pushing them towards learning how to find things out for themselves, but they're not quite there yet. So maybe in a few years we might revisit this with something else. I don't know. Price point for me in Australia, they're about $50 a unit, which for just over a month's worth of subject is fairly expensive. It's not terrible, but then you've got to factor in the printing costs on top of that. Whether you print at home or whether you print it out, it doesn't matter. You've still got to pay for that paper and the ink and that printing. So, yeah, it's not crazy expensive, but it's not super cheap. I found that the early reader stuff, some of it was just a bit too simple. There were bits that my girls really enjoyed. Once again, I'm just going to jump forward. So that was the early elementary. This is now the step below that, the early reader. So they have the flag there to colour in, which is perfect for my younger child. And then they have a similar page there about reading this, but then there's nothing there about there's no activity there for them to do, just reading about it. There's an activity break about water and erosion. Copy work for them rather than dictation. For them, they're just matching nouns and adjectives, which is similar, but no writing involved. And then, once again, the same activity here. And some activities matched, which was really nice. It was really good because my girls like doing the same thing. So, I mean, every week was different, which is pros and cons. They're like the same. They like repetition. Kids like routine. Well, my kids like routine. Not all kids do, I know, but my girls really do like routine. They kind of thrive on it. So there's pros and cons. It really will be up to you and your family and your kids and their learning style, your teaching style, your homeschool style as to whether it works for you or not. Like I said, I really liked bits of it and I would continue to use it. And depending on our budget, we will possibly continue to use it for our geography beyond Asia, or we might not. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't decided. We'll finish up Asia and then we might look at doing another one, or we might just go back to researching through our beautiful books that we have on the shelf here. I'll see how we go. If we change it up, I will probably film another video about how we're doing geography in the future. But that's pretty much it. Like I said, reading it off the iPad was really good. It saved me a bunch of printing. I wouldn't have liked to have printed all of this because these pictures are really quite like very ink heavy, like, you know, absolutely stunning. But yeah. And look, maybe I'm not utilizing it as much as I could. I don't know. But like I said, there's pros and cons. We enjoyed it. We liked it, but it's not my favorite. I would recommend it to people who really have kids that are great independent workers, children that like to read, children that are good at researching, and families that like rabbit holes, because you could go down a lot of rabbit holes with this. And if you're a rabbit hole family that like to then take work and research it and take it deeper, and your kids will do that, then that's great. And I think you could have a lot of bouncing off points from this and do that, because these workbooks are short enough that you're done with them in 5 minutes and then you've moved on. Whereas my kids, they're done with these in 5 minutes and they go, cool, school's done for the day, and they're gone. And to bring them back for anything else is just way too hard. So that's pretty much my thoughts on it. Like I said, we loved it in some ways, but not in others. I liked it enough that I'm going to continue to finish it up for our geography. But apart from that, yeah. And look, there's some other topics that they've got that we might delve into to use, like I said, as a unit subject for years to come. The careers and trades one looks really interesting. Their artist one might be a great art subject to do if my girls want to get into art, and we do some art appreciation and learning about different artists and composers that way. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not closing the door on Gather Round. Like I said, they're still growing and they're still learning, and I think they're still changing how they're doing stuff to a point. Asia's one of their very first units, and the samples that I've downloaded, like we did an artist sample, and it was a little bit different, and I liked the feel of the artists more than the feel of Asia. So we might try one of their year 2 units next time around and see how we feel with that. So I guess it's just a matter of waiting and seeing. But they're my thoughts on it, and I hope you find this interesting. I hope you find it helpful. If you like this video, please do give it a like, share it with your friends. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. These things all help my channel to grow, help me to share the homeschooling love and support with other mums and dads out there that are homeschooling, both in Australia and maybe even around the world. We're all in this together, guys. I'm not here to make $1 million. I'm here to encourage you, to help you, to share my thoughts and feelings, because I know that for me as a homeschooling mum, when I'm looking at curriculum, one of the first things I do is I jump on YouTube and go, this curriculum's reviews, and I look for them and I watch different people's reviews and see what they think, and I work out what sort of homeschool style they have and whether I think it will work or not work, and gather all that information. So I hope this helps you. I hope you find it interesting. Otherwise, sorry. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Have a great week. Thanks for watching. Bye.